Are you ready? I'm Vin.
I'm Sori.
And this is...
Tremonti Radical Change for the big homie Josh.
Shout out to the big homie Josh. There are multiple ways to get your song reviewed, dear listener. My favorite is the community option. $1 the gate gets you in at Patreon, and you will get to meet all the amazing people I've just been talking to.
Yep.
Halandros, Blake X, who also has a reaction channel that you should check out, like, share, comment, and subscribe. Nuclear Reactions, bitches. Leave out the bitches up. Okay, so you get to meet all these awesome people. You pull your points together. There's voting system. There's all different ways. Each alliance leader does it a little bit different.
They hang out on Discord. I went on today. Well, I peeked in there, and it said that there's like 500 people that hang out in there. When I popped in randomly, there was 80 people there.
Holy moly.
So there's plenty of interaction.
Yeah, and in this day and age, Discord is actually pretty helpful. Mm-hmm. And interaction with other human beings is that's become a real big passion of mine in light of the whole COVID situation, whether or not you agree or disagree with it. So anyway, those are the alliances. Now, if you want to go Ronin, you want to go by yourself, because I'm kind of like a loner. I'm not a big community guy. I'm a very hard guy to get along with. Ask her. She'll tell you. 125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You do that 3 times, you get knocked down to the $75 rate. We just had a guy do his last 125 yesterday, so shout out to the homie. It was Anthony. Tony.
And I just found the Wackator. He was paying more than he should.
Did we refund him?
I did. Well, he's gonna put more songs on instead. I think.
Okay. Please watch that, guys. If you're in the 125 tier and you've done it 3 times, every song after that should be at 75. So please go back, look at your books. If we overcharge you, hit us out. Sori will refund you, no problem, so we can keep everything square. Okay? Having said that, let's do it. Tremonti! Radical Change. You ready?
Yep.
1, 2, 3, go. Whoa!
Going right in.
Like a Metallica style riff. Heavy as hell. Holy moly.
Hey, look!
And she's rocking a Tremonti shirt on accident. That shit was tight. Holy moly. That was such a good song, bro. That was such a good song. Okay, so Tremonti, if I'm right, was the guitar. Help me out in the audience. We're doing a live stream, by the way. We're the most interactive reaction channel of all time. We don't just react to music. We've got our folks in the freaking chat with us. Holy moly. This guy was a guitarist on Creed. Remember Creed? Oh, yeah. It's wide open.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you got a Tremonti shirt on. Did you know we were going to do this song today?
No, I love my Tremonti shirt. I love both my Tremonti shirts.
I should have worn my Tremonti shirt. I'm wearing this purple shirt, you know what I'm saying? I'm looking slick, you know what I'm saying? Just got the hairline, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, okay, it's gonna be, run of the mill. Yo, he started out heavy. That was like,
oh my gosh, yeah.
That was like that Metallica like thrash, like early Metallica type shit that I loved when I first. What did he used to call it? The guy that taught me a little something on the guitar, he used to call it triple picking.
Okay. Yeah.
And I used to think that was like the holy grail of metal playing because I never knew how to do it.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? So I used to take my guitar and I would just,
Is it easy or hard to? How long does it take you?
Now it's like
easy.
I do it too much.
Oh, okay.
So like I purposely try to stay away from it. But I remember like my technique was so terrible. My main thing was I was just impatient. So Ralph would sit there and be like, "Nah, bro, it's like this," and then he would just. But it's the same thing like right now with harmonics. That's like I try so hard to get that right. I'm gonna get it eventually, but But anyway, like so that just like brought me back to when I first had my guitar and I'm like trying so hard. All I needed to do was play blind, you know what I mean? And because I came from nu metal, there was not a lot of that. Well, Slipknot would do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But anyway, I had such a limited metal palette that I didn't know how to do it on guitar. It took me a very, very long time. Tore up my fingers and went blood everywhere. It was ridiculous. So anyway.
I never went to the point of blood because I wanted to play the next day.
Oh, I'd still
but
play.
You'd still play. Ugh.
I'd still pay. I'd just wrap it up. Because I would be like, fuck, damn it, burn it.
Oh my gosh.
My mom would be like, Vincent, what's going on in the room? What happened to you? I have blood. Yeah. My mom's a nurse or whatever, so she'd like wrap me up and send me back.
What do you mean you play? How can you play if your fingers are wrapped up?
Well, she would wrap up my little thing, and then you just hold the pick like this. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's different ways of holding your pick.
Oh, the hand that had the pick on it is the one that would bleed?
Yeah, because that's the one you got to do the triple picking with.
Oh. No,
because
okay,
it was
different.
It was like
I thought it was this hand.
The way that they were like in this song, like the way I heard James Hetfield say, he basically said like he wanted his guitar to sound like another drum.
Okay.
So like you'd have these beats. Fear Factory used to do this too. They I forgot the name of the song, but it started off like, and then the guitars would fall like, it sounded so badass. I was like, oh my god, these guys are like guitar gods. This is so. And then once I found out how to do it, I was like, oh. It took me quite some time. But anyway,
there are lots of things that are like that when you don't know about it or how to do it, it's like a wonder. And then once you find out, you're like, really? Like magic tricks.
Yeah.
It's like, that's amazing. And then you see it done, you're like, oh.
Yeah. Everybody in the thing is like, triplets. Ha silly Negro.
Oh, that's what it's called?
Triplets, not triple picking, you dummy. They're not saying that. They're just helping me out. Everybody knows that I'm very limited on guitar. You guys will see pretty soon. Actually, you know what we should do?
What?
What we should do is we should release to our patrons stuff.
Yeah. I forgot about that one.
Yeah. Like, that one doesn't have to be, like, mega produced. We can, like, make that a true cult.
No, that's true.
We can make that a true cult song, and then the real song is coming up pretty soon.
All right, well, in the meantime, please, just one more chance. I've just failed again. Question everything, never understand. Point that, honest to goodness, this is how I feel when we're working in this office. Because I ask you a billion questions about what we're doing, and even when you're answering the questions, I still don't understand what's going on.
Yeah.
Point blank guilt today. Pride just dies away. Won't do that again. Please don't ask me when.
Looks like he's in a very, very difficult relationship. It's a radical change, standing alone, feeling the weight of the whole world, defenseless again, standing alone, turning my back on the whole world. So it looks like Maybe he's in a relationship and he keeps failing in the relationship, and he's gonna make a radical change by like he's gonna break up with her. He's gonna ship her out to pasture because he can never please her. Because he says, one more chance, I failed again, question everything, I never understand, point blank guilt today, pride just dies away. So it looks a little bit like, in this line, he's questioning everything, he can never understand, maybe he's trying to communicate with Shorty, but at the same time, he knows that she's got him dead to rights, point blank guilt today. So maybe he screwed up. Maybe he's in the, doing the rock star thing. He's the one that did it.
Yeah. Oh, because he's saying please.
Well, he's asking for forgiveness or another chance at the beginning. So I'm assuming like he screwed up.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's that.
Won't do that again. Please don't ask me when.
Well, he's saying I won't. He's promising he'll never do it again. But in the very next line, he's saying, "Don't ask me when I'm going to actually stop doing it." Because he has no intention of stopping. Ugh. Or maybe it's not that he has no intention, but maybe he's... Because this is one of my things. Like, I'm not going to say I will never do XYZ thing again if I know that I'm not capable at this stage in my life of not doing that thing.
Yeah.
So I remember talking to a dude. He was going through a situation with his lady, and he was telling her, I'm never going to do XYZ again. And I was just like, don't do that. Mm-hmm. Because I could tell that he was not now I believe in the moment he said it that he meant it. Uh-huh. But I was telling him, don't do that, don't tell her that, because you're not out of the woods with this particular addiction or whatever. And he's like, I know myself, blah blah blah. And of course, when a person says that, what are you going to say? Like, no, you don't know yourself? Which was what I was thinking when he said that to me. I was like, no, you don't know yourself. But then what can you say? And at the time, I didn't have time to argue with him because I was on a trip. I was on a trip when he said that. I was actually, yeah. So, I mean, what was I going to...
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it turned out to be right. He went out, made all these pronouncements to this girl or whatever, and then he...
And then he didn't come through.
And then he proceeded to fail miserably. It wasn't funny, but,
Yeah, but I think that on the flip side, people can kind of get in this place where they're like, how, like, what if you are not sure if you're gonna, because sometimes you think, all right, I'm definitely making this change, regardless of if you say it out loud, and then you keep failing again. You're like, oh my word, I thought I wasn't gonna do that again, and I just failed again. So like, it kind of can put you in this place where you never want to say that you're trying to make any changes, but then it makes it look like you're not even making any changes at all. You know what I mean? Like, let's say he was cheating on this girl. Is he supposed to not say, I'm sorry, I'm going to work on that? I mean, like, nobody wants to hear I'm going to work on that if they're being cheated on. They want to hear I'm stopping.
That's like that time of the Bible study where I was like, yeah, you never hear anybody say I'm struggling with murder.
Right.
Because you were saying all sins were the same.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
What? Yeah, no. I think there's some like non-starters in a relationship or non-negotiables where it's like, okay, like you can, like, if you're late to pick me up for the date by a half an hour every day, that's something we can work on. But like, you can't say you're working on cheating on her or something. I mean, I don't know, girl. I don't know. But it looks like that's what's going on. But it also kind of, it's a radical change, standing alone, feeling the word of the whole world, defenseless again, standing alone, turning my back on the whole world. That's really interesting because on the one hand, he's feeling the weight of the world on his shoulders, but on the other hand, he's turning his back on the whole world. Mm-hmm. That's a very smart lyrical sort of sleight of hand there. That's brilliant. I have a theory on that. What's yours?
I don't have a theory on it.
Okay.
What is yours?
So he's going to break up with Shorty, and he's the one in the wrong. But like most unhealthy relationships, this person was his whole world.
Okay.
So he is presumably her whole world. And in breaking up with her, he knows he's going to break her heart. So now he feels the weight of the whole world because she's his whole world. Ooh. But simultaneously, he's turning his back on her because it's just not going to work anymore. And then I think it's sometimes in those situations where you just triage, like, I'm going to hurt this person regardless. If I stay with her, I'm going to keep cheating on her. So I'm going to hurt her. And if I leave her, I want to hurt her too. But at least it's a boom, instead of a continuous death by 1,000 razor blades. So I think...
Are they still Christians? Us? Yes, we're still Christians.
Ooh. Somebody asked that question?
Yeah, I don't know if it's us or not. But anyway.
So I think that's what's going on there. And then he says...
Oh, I know. This time the change will last forever. It's probably they broke up before and got back together.
Yeah, it just seems like, it's kind of like, my mom, right? Like, her and Mr. Man were going back and forth my entire childhood. And she would, like, go to another state. And they'd be, like, apart. And then he'd show up and all the rest of it. They just, But eventually, the thing finally ended. Mm-hmm. But by the time it ended, like, I was a grown, like, man in a crazy relationship of my own, so I didn't really see the significance of it to my mom. That was one of the things I never really something I never really talked to my mom about. But stuff, our life was always so crazy, like I never really, but I think that probably had a lot to do with her in, man, because
oh my word,
she invested her entire life into that situation, sacrificed everything for that relationship. And the thing is, like, I love my stepfather. Like, when we went to my mom's funeral, like, my stepfather was the one I went to, not my dad. You know what I'm saying? So, which, really hurt my dad a lot. But, so, like, I got nothing but love for my stepdad. But, and it wasn't a one-sided situation. Like, my mother was, it was volatile on both sides. Like, and, I usually take the woman's position in those types of situations and whatever. But, my mom wasn't one of these, like, she was not a victim. That's for sure. But, yeah, like, I don't think my mom didn't really last. She didn't last a decade after that happened. Like, after they were done, and like, he moved on, and he is who he is. So, he's always with somebody. And she just, So, I think that had a lot to do with how stuff ended. And I'm not blaming him or whatever. It's just, I'm more like, it's like, thinking about it right now, like, because I know where I was after, a relationship ended that I'd invested, I did 15 years with Shorty. My mom did 20, 25, almost 30 years, going back and forth. Yeah, yeah. And for it to just end like that. And the other thing was, it was like, we had all grown up. So there was that and empty nest at the same time.
Yeah. That's a lot.
Which is, now looking back at it, see, that's the thing. Now that I'm with you, like, I've got a lot of time to be contemplative about, like, the world outside of, the little ecosystem that I was in with Shorty, because she was so crazy that, like, I'm like, people are going to die, like, kids are going to die, she's going to die. So I was, like, so focused on that. Now that that's not happening, like, now I sit back and I get to think about shit, and I'm like, yo, I bet that, like, it was really hard to have a relationship like that finally, truly and completely end while your youngest kid is now, because Jamie was the baby, and Jamie was her.
He was a source of comfort for her.
He was her favorite. Well, my brother said that to me. He was her favorite, and he was growing up himself. He had to have his own life, and I don't know if he left or if he kicked her out, if she kicked him out or whatever, but. He'd hit that age, and he had to get out there and do his thing. He had his little girlfriend, you know what I'm saying? He had to go and... So all that stuff happened at the same time. And then on my side, she was... We were beefing really, really hard at that particular moment. Like, she just went, ballistic. Court got involved, the whole 9 yards, like... crazy stuff, like restraining orders, yada yada yada, and I completely missed it. Like, I completely missed, like, the bigger picture of what was going on with her at the time. And I don't feel like guilty about it. It's just like, it's one of those things where, like, you know, I was watching the Super Bowl replay, and Travis Kelce missed a wide open pass. And he's like, "Dad." You know, I don't think he's walking around with a bunch of guilt because he missed a pass, but it's like one of those, like, what could have been type of situations. Yeah. It's like, you know, we were the only people that my mom really had. And that was self-inflicted to a degree. Like, if I look at my mother objectively, like, that was self-inflicted to a degree. And I'm very, very similar that way. But I think I have more awareness of what I'm doing than my mom did. Like, I'm aware that, like, I only want 2 or 3 people that are not my blood relatives in my, like, real circle. But I also know, like, you got to have some sort of concentric circles of relationships. But my mom didn't have it. She only had us. So, yeah, we never really put that together. We never really put it together. So, it's just one of those things, man. You know what I mean? It's one of those things.
Thanks.
So, yeah, so I just feel like, damn, I wish I would have, like, caught that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that would have been, I don't know, she'd probably still be here. Because it's a hard, you know, the song is called Radical Change, and I think that that's a real... I was listening to this pastor one time, and he was talking about this guy. He wasn't my favorite guy because he was a businessman on the side. And so, like, everything to him almost was a business transaction, and he kind of, like, demystified the process. Mm-hmm. And he'd be like... And you could just tell, and he knew how to grow a church. He knew how to. This is a guy. You know, I told you, like, there's only like 2 or 3 apostolic people in this area, like people who could really just, like, parachute in and start a church, and he was one of them. And he would say, like, weddings, births, and deaths. That's when people start going to church, because.
Start going to church.
Yeah, actually, weddings, divorces, births, and deaths. He would say, that's when people start going to church. And so he'd be like, you know, if you're talking to your homies or whatever, and they get married, boom, that's one. Or a divorce, boom, that's one. And then the baby, boom. And then death, boom. And so, like, he just had it down. He would talk about, like, these are radical transitional moments in people's lives when they start looking for, you know.
Yeah.
And at the time, I'm like, no, it's God's Spirit that brings people, you know, which is true, but there's also just a regular sort of practical, this is how human beings are wired, and they start asking ultimate questions when they make these transitions. But yeah, I think anytime you're in that type of situation, it's a very fertile time in a person's life, but it's also very dangerous. And people, you know, can be dangerous for folks. So it was a good song. It was, you know, sonically crazy. I really liked it. It is what it is. What did you think of it?
I liked it. I liked the rhythm, and lyrically, I didn't realize that it was going to be about that. But yeah, I thought it was good. I don't really have a whole lot to say. I think because I'm processing what you just said. And that's, I don't know. Sometimes, like, it's hard for me to imagine being you in your shoes, and when I do, it's painful, and so I don't like to stay there too long because it's sad. And, like, when you're saying that about your mom, it's like, ugh, like, you know, there was, I don't know, like the other day we were talking, and there was some information, and you said, I was like, I didn't even tell this person blah 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 because I didn't know if we could say anything, because there were certain things that we're not, like, putting out publicly. That you're like, oh, I already talked to that person about that, and then I'm like, does anybody else know? And then you were like, oh, I talked to your mom about it, and, like, part of me was like, well, I wanted to talk to my mom about it, but then I was like, wow, like how freaking selfish of me. Like, I can share my mom with you, you know?
Oh.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, like if I'm only coming from my perspective, I'm going to be like, don't say anything to my mom. Let me give all the exciting news to her, you know?
Yeah,
but then it's like, wow, like that's, ugh. So here, you know, hearing you talk about it, I mean, I'm glad you're talking, but it's sad, you know, like it's tough stuff to hear. And I think part of me too, a lot of times when you talk, I always picture like if our boys were grown up and they were saying these things, like that would be, I would never ever ever want my kids to carry a weight like that, or my kids to even feel like that. And so, you know, hearing you say it, I'm like, I guess because I have a heart of a mom, I think probably if she knew that you were going to carry that, she probably wouldn't, you know what I mean? Like maybe that would have made things different, because I don't think that a mom would want their child to carry that type of weight, because a parent is supposed to carry their children, not the children carry the parent. So I don't think she would want you to carry that at all. But yeah, so it kind of took a sad turn. Like I liked the sound of it. The beginning I thought was interesting, you know, because
It's a good song. It's heavy as hell.
yeah. There was some relatability in there, but I always like take any song. I think this is part of the reason why I'm like, I don't have a freaking clue what the lyrics are about, because I'm not generally trying to find out what the artist is trying to say. I'm just saying, how can this song relate to my life? So that's what I do with every single song. So I barely ever know what like is actually going on. So, but that's how I listen to music, and I'm not gonna stop now. So it's a 9.6 for me.
Yeah, I'll rock with a 9.6. Very, 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 very good song.
Shout out to Josh.
Shout out to Josh. Good song, big homie. Vin out.
Sori out.
Gone.
Hey villagers, this is Archero, and I'm inviting you to the Village March Madness Tournament. We're doing this as a fundraiser and to get together as a community and have a little bit of fun. If you're not familiar with March Madness, it is a 64-team college basketball tournament. The teams all play in single elimination round tournament style. Final winner is going to be the national champion. There's going to be a page set up on the ESPN website where you can make your guesses who's going to win each game. And we'll have a private group set up just for our village to compete against each other and see who predicted the winners best. To participate, it only costs $1. And all of that is going to go to help other villagers who are in need right now. This is all going to be happening in mid-March. More details are coming very soon about the dates, prizes, and how to join. I'll see you guys there. Keep it metal.